Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Dallas Daily Show, coming at you here from the Neighborhood Loans Studio in St. Louis, Missouri. Today's episode is Taking a Different Route. All right, let's get into the conversation. Okay, everybody. I know yesterday I talked about a billboard on the highway. And all last week we were talking about signs, everywhere the signs. And it seems I've gotten a ton of insights from driving around, which says a lot about my style of business. Is I go to meet clients, and I seem to be on the road a lot right now, or going to speaking events, etc. Well, you get one more. Although this wasn't a sign, this wasn't a billboard, this wasn't anything of. This wasn't anything that I read. This was just simply a driving thing. I was meeting with a client, meeting with their team, going through some training. Afterward, I was headed back to my home office, and the highway I was taking, northbound on Highway 55, it was congested. There was some accidents, and you know how you've got your map apps on your phones now. It used to be that we had, we used to have MapQuest 15 years ago. Before that, when we lived in LA, my wife and I had the Thomas guide. For those of you who know what that is, before that, we used to all just use Rand McNally, or every now and again, we'd roll down the window and say, "Hey, excuse me, sir, do you know how I find blank?" And the guy on the street corner would be like, "You ain't from around here, are you, partner?" We used to have that guy too beforehand. So we had MapQuest. Now we have our phones. We had MapQuest, we had Thomas guide, we had Atlas, and before that we had Johnny helping us out find those places. Now we use these phones, and so when I put in oh my gosh, I don't know how to get here because I could see the traffic on the highway, I simply tapped the quicker route, because I didn't want to wait. Well, here's what was amazing. She took me through my phone. She took me through all of these back streets of South County, St. Louis, that I probably haven't driven on for 20 plus years. And there were things that I saw that I was like, oh my gosh, I totally remember that. Actually, probably now that I think about it, 30 plus years for some of these things, where I was like, oh my gosh, I totally remember that restaurant. Oh yeah, I remember that little milestone. Oh my goodness, that's still standing. And I saw all of this stuff, not to mention, if you're anywhere familiar with St. Louis, the south part of the city can be really beautiful. There's these 100-year-old homes. There's the old breweries down there. There's just all these landmarks, and there's historical buildings, and it's really quite lovely. And all these, brickstone sort of things. It's quite lovely when you drive through it or when you see it. Usually, though, I just hop on the most efficient route, aka the highway, right? I get on my exit, I get off my exit, and I just go quickly and I move efficiently from place to place, from A to B. However, because the efficient way was cut off from me, or because of the, accident, I took a different route. It was a more scenic route, and I have to say it brought me a lot of joy. The experience, or the experience that I had in those places, was really quite fun and quite nostalgic and quite enjoyable to do. And I began to think of you, and I began to think of me, and I just began to think in general, how often are we sacrificing the experience for our efficiency? Now, I know we have to do that with our jobs. I know, certain things it's efficient. And even as parents, my wife and I struggle sometimes to say to our boys, could you just move faster? Please move a little more quickly. We need to be more efficient. Why are you touching that? Why are you holding that up? No, set that down. We got to do this right now. Like, I know efficiency in certain environments works really well. Probably not parenting. Everybody here just was like, wow, efficiency in your parenting. Way to go, Dallas. But sometimes it's that old phrase, stop and smell the roses. Sometimes if we would just pull back on our efficiency, or dare I say even our expediency, perhaps we could have more of an experience. And rather than expediency, more of an experience. Where are there places in your life where you could maybe pause and say, you know what, I'm going to take the scenic route? Maybe you take a little more of a scenic route with your children. Maybe you take a more scenic route with your partner, your spouse, your significant other. Maybe it's time to take a little bit more scenic route with your friends, rather than just boom, 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 relationships of efficiency and relationships of pragmatism. What if you actually took some time and celebrated a little bit more? What if we got out of fast food mentality and actually began to dine a little bit more in our overall life? I'm using that as a metaphor. I'm not just saying don't eat fast food. Or PSA, public service announcement, quit eating fast food. But what if we began to sit a little more frequently and just be? What would that look like for you? So, my challenge to you today is simply this. Where can you choose experience over expediency, right? Where can you choose the scenic route over the more efficient, quote unquote, route? Where can you actually lean into the pleasure of life and the scenery and the environments, especially as you're becoming this future version of you? Is the future version of you, does it want to be hurried? Or do you want to experience the richness and fullness of life? Do you want to be stressed? Or do you want to be wonderful? Right? Full of wonder. Maybe that's where we should consider ourselves today. Time to take the scenic route, my friends. All right. That's all I got for you today. Go out there. Have a championship day.
Thanks for listening to my dad's podcast. For more tools, go to DallasDailyShow.com. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.